Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Ruby Darcy podcast. I'm so excited for today's episode because I have a very special guest on the podcast today, one of my beautiful long-term clients and friends, Maddie Sharp. Welcome, babe.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be on this today. Honestly, it's such an honor. And honestly, I've been working with you for so long now. We've just got the most amazing connection, and I'm so excited for this.
Babe, literally, how long has it been? Like, what's the date? It's 2021, would it have been?
I think 2020, I reckon.
2020. It probably
Remember
was.
us doing the lockdown sessions with Marley?
We were deep in the lockdown days. Oh, it's been, and that's the most beautiful thing. It's like I feel like I've seen you grow up in a sense, but equally you've seen me grow up, and like over the last, it would almost be rounding up to 4 years, which is just insane. Like so much happens through that time, and it's just so special. And I really feel like we have so much to say. So this podcast is just an absolute must because people just must hear everything that we have to say. So,
I'm so excited.
oh, I'm so happy you're here. Please introduce yourself as, yeah, how would you introduce yourself, babe? Like Madison Sharp, train with Mads on Instagram and TikTok.
I know the TikTok now, we are on it.
We
But I am Mads. So I'm the owner of Train with Mads, which is an online fitness and nutrition and mindset coaching business, which is all my aim for Train with Mads is basically to help women feel confident as fuck in their body through fitness, nutrition, and mindset. So I've been training now for almost 6 years, which is actually insane. And I started my business in 2021, I believe. That was when I think I signed up with you mentoring possibly. But I started around 2021. I actually started creating my business and I signed up to all my courses in 2020. So that was when I made the decision to actually go ahead with this.
Yeah, so your certs, and
Yeah.
you started that in 2020. Like, how did you come to that decision? Like, you started training, you developed a passion, but where did it go from there that you knew I want to do this for work? Or did you sort of not know that this is what it would evolve into?
I think when I was ending school, I was always very academic. So everyone was asking me, like, what are you doing after school? What uni degree are you going to get into? Because I got a pretty good ATAR. Like, I am pretty academic. So I could have got into multiple courses, but I just didn't want to commit to a course that I wasn't 100% passionate about. So I didn't end up going to uni straight after. I kind of just had a little bit of a phase. And in lockdown period, I actually began with coaching in the start of 2020, I believe. So it was just before we went into lockdown. And I didn't even know online fitness coaching was a thing before I did that. I had a PT for a period of time, just seeing her once every 2 weeks. And that was great, but it only got me so far. So that's when I decided to actually sign up to you, Rubes, when you had Fit with Ruby, which was amazing. And that's when I kind of discovered online fitness coaching. So I did that for quite a while. And then I just developed such a passion for fitness, nutrition, mindset. And originally I signed up because I just wanted to lose weight, build a bum, the classic goals that girls usually have. And what I didn't realize was the whole time I just wanted to be confident in my body. And also watching someone very close to me go through an eating disorder for always trying to be smaller. She nearly died because of how far she had taken it. She was hospitalized multiple times. I realized that ultimately all I wanted to do was help girls be confident in their body.
Mm.
And I developed such a passion for it. And that's when I was like, this is what I want to do. There was definitely some fears there because I believe there was just so many people around me that was like, you can't be a PT for the rest of your life. Like,
Mm.
this is just a short-term thing. So there was a lot of fears that were playing out. But I had such a passion that it was just the only thing that I could see myself doing.
Oh, babe, there's so much to that story, and I'm so glad you did it. And I think like if ever there were a right reason to be in an industry or to have a business, like you've got the right reasons from this like deep place of I want to help people and I genuinely like you live and breathe it. And I think it was almost inevitable for you to come into working in this space because you do live and breathe it. And it just people that's why people I believe want to learn from you and work with you because they can see that you're such an embodiment in it and you're genuinely so passionate and the intention is just so genuine. So that's just so beautiful. Wow. Also, I feel like it doesn't surprise me that you were so academic, but I feel like we've never had that conversation
We
about you being
actually,
so academic.
we actually haven't. Like we've never had that conversation. But yeah, I feel like for me, like even my girls will know this. Sometimes I lack common sense with like little things, but I'm so academic. Like the common sense sometimes lacks, but academic, like I'm very academic.
Oh my gosh. Wait, can I ask a funny but somewhat irrelevant question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. What was your ATAR?
I think it was 82, but I did low subjects that did not boost your ATAR. So it was like, I didn't think I'd get above 70 because of the subjects I chose. But then, yeah, I got 82 and I didn't even like give it my all. I think if I chose better subjects, I could easily have gotten 90s. Like, I truly believe that for myself.
Oh, that literally is actually an insane score. Like in the 80s is just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it is good. I'm like
And
happy.
oh, you should be. It's like such a flex.
Just flex my ATAR.
I love it. And it's like for anyone who doesn't know Maddie, or at least I feel I've had such a pleasure of getting to know you on a deeper level, you have so much attention to detail. Like
Yeah.
you are so meticulous that if anyone was to work with you coaching, they're in safe hands because you go over things with a fine tooth comb. You are so meticulous, so like on to everything, but you also really value educating yourself. Like that is very much something about you where you're always curious. And I was actually reflecting on, yesterday when I was thinking about the podcast and why like how I sort of relate to you, or at least like how I perceive you, things I notice in you. I wrote it down, right? I notice that you got some
I'm
funny
like,
ones.
oh, what is she gonna say
Yeah.
now?
I'm gonna I'm gonna share them. So firstly, it's like you're always seeking progression and you work really hard for that. Like you literally like you would move mountains to do what you want to do. Like truly I say that and you know that. Like that's not just sugarcoating it. It's true. Um you also just move fast and you make decisions fast. I think you really back yourself, babe. Like would you agree to that to an extent? Like you're just like, yeah, I'm doing it and you do it.
Yeah, like once I've kind of set my mind on it, I'll do it. And you're right, I am very fast with what I do. Like as soon as you give me feedback in Voxer, it's done. Like it's done
Yeah.
and dusted. Like I am very fast with my actions. And I think to an extent, like, yeah, I definitely have built up so much self-trust with our time together. I think when I first started mentorship, I had so many fears. I had no self-trust. And I think as well throughout this experience with you and doing the mindset work, but also releasing things and it's seeing it go well. Like I've built up so much evidence, but also so much self-trust that it's going to be completely fine.
And that compounds, right? And it's like the more you do it, the more competent you are, but also like the more trust you have with yourself,
Yeah.
which is freaking epic. And then the other thing I wrote down was you have no, like, you actually don't have any hesitation in asking questions. Like, you will fire questions at me like a fucking machine gun, like, and have like every day. And I love it. Like, I don't think that. I think we transcended the past, the codependency piece, and it's come into this beautiful thing where you're just like, you're actually just thinking fast and you're curious, and then you're acting on a curiosity with a question, and you're like fully just seeking support in ways like your mind is very switched on in that regard.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
agree.
yeah, would you agree in that?
Yeah, so I feel like definitely back ages ago when we first started mentorship, there was a bit of codependent. Oh my God, I can't say the word codependency playing out. And I definitely think I've surpassed that now, but I definitely am curious with everything. Like even, for example, with my like coach at the moment as well. With him, I ask like 100 questions a day. Like if I'm doing an exercise and something doesn't feel right in one part, I'll be like, okay, my elbows were shaking at the bottom of bench press. Like, why is this occurring? Like even
Mm,
yeah, as you said, like every time I come into our mentorship container, I'm asking multiple questions. And I feel like I love that about me because it's helped
mm.
me learn so much more. Whereas I say the same thing to my clients. Like whenever I get a client, I'm like, literally ask as many questions as you possibly can because that's how you're going to learn so much more.
Yeah, it's really interesting, like when you say that. I think sometimes, and I'm curious of like what your understanding of this is like people kind of cock block themselves from asking a question because one, they like judge themselves for asking a question, or two, they try and like work it out themselves, or three, they just like dismiss it as being like, e.g. the elbow shaking at the bottom of bench press. Some people will be like, oh, I wonder. Anyway, moving on, like, but
No, I agree. Like, definitely, I feel like in the past, ages ago, I was hesitant to ask questions because I'm like, well, what if that's a dumb question? Like the
mm,
judgment piece. Like,
mm,
what if it's a dumb question? And then if I thought that, I'd be like, oh, just dismiss it because it doesn't seem
mhm,
important. Like the
mm.
dismissal, like even sometimes I pull myself up on that. I'm like, oh, like you're curious, ask the question. There's literally no harm in asking. So no, that's so true. I agree completely. And I definitely think it's a cock block completely because you could be learning so much more if you just asked the questions and got curious as well.
Yeah, it's like it's the beginner mindset, but not the like it doesn't mean you're inferior. You're just like curious, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I think like that is such a big takeaway. And if people integrated that, if they listen to this, integrate that tomorrow, you can literally change your life. Because I really see that as to be something that has allowed you to grow so fast, is
Yeah.
ask questions.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
Another thing I heard, so funny. I've not said this to you before, but I've only noticed it sometimes. I feel like sometimes we'll have a conversation in Voxer and you will repeat the sentence that I say and then add your response onto it. Like every word that I say, you're like, yeah, I agree. And then you repeat the exact sentence I said and then add your response to it. But what I think it's actually doing, it's cementing shit into your mind like tenfold.
That
And
is so true. Now that you pointed that out, now I'm like thinking back of every single time I voice message you. I'm like, yeah, I say this, and then I'll say what you exactly said. But yeah, it's true. Like I'm probably just cementing it.
yeah, and it's strengthening your vocab as well, like your vocabulary, because oh fuck, I wish people could hear an example of it. It's actually my favorite thing. It's just like the sweetest thing, but it's so like it's unconscious, but that's your superpower. Like
Yeah,
really is.
I've actually never recognized that until you just said that. I never recognized that, but now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, whenever I respond, I say it. But I agree. I definitely think it's like an unconscious thing that plays out. But I also think it allows me to understand everything you've said as well. So it like shows that
Mm,
too. Um, but no,
yeah.
like what I've even started doing more is like as I was saying to you, I start listening to voice recordings twice or three times now
Mm,
because I feel like I was always coming from that state of just like getting it in, responding straight away, and then I wouldn't actually take it in. I would just act on it. So
mm.
I've got into that habit as well, which is probably as well why I'm saying it back because I've literally listened to it three times.
Let me write it down while I'm at it. But it's like, honestly, another thing, whether you've realized it or not, is such an incredible skill, and maybe that is relevant to your academic background where, there's that sort of like repetitive learning, the textbook or like
Yes. Oh my God. I
memorizing.
didn't think of that. Like when I was doing study for my year 12 exams, I would have cue cards and I'd read it out loud to myself once I've read it.
Stop it. That makes sense. It's like photographic memory, memorizing, cementing, going over the information. And because that's a habit for you, you're good. Like you will learn whatever you need to fucking learn. And you have, like, I've seen such a progression in your knowledge, which is just insane.
Yeah,
And your vocabulary as well. I think that's just a huge thing.
so much.
I
Thanks, Kate.
sometimes, yeah, like I'll listen to you speak sometimes, I'm like, fuck that, you're a genius. Like, yes. Now I'm blowing smoke up your ass. But
Thank you so much. Keep going. I'll
yeah.
take
It's so good. I just love it so much. So like as we can sort of see, you very much hold this life that's going to allow you to progress, right? You have the traits, you have the vision. What else do you feel you that represents your ambition and drive? So talk to me about your mindset, your values, what drives you? Like, what do you feel encompasses your ambition?
I feel like it's just because I know in myself that I can give so much and I'm not willing to settle for less. Like, this is a conversation we've had so much, but like within me, I'm just never willing to settle for less. If I can do better, then I will do better. And I hold myself to that standard with everything I do, with my training, nutrition, even mindset. I'll come in with the most randomest shit. Like, I hold myself to that standard in my personal life, but also in my business life. And my why is so strong that I'm literally willing to do whatever it takes to achieve.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, I feel like that is definitely, and with my values, like I truly believe values are such a huge thing. And one of my biggest values is ambition. So like living in alignment with that makes me feel so fucking happy. Like every single day, if I know that I've shown up and I'm just 1% better, like I feel good by doing that. If I'm settling, that doesn't feel good for me. That does not
mm.
feel good for me. So I'm always just aiming to give it everything. And I have such a belief in myself that I can achieve so much. So I will do whatever it takes.
Mm, I love this. And do you feel like you did this come from anywhere? Do you recall a time where you first realized I'm going to do big things, or was it always just a part of you?
I don't think it was always just a part of me. I think it kind of, I guess, surfaced when I started training with you because I was like, oh my God, I never knew I could lift that heavy on that
Mm,
exercise. And then I wanted to aim for more and I wanted to aim
mm,
for more. And then it would just became part of me, like just from training, which is so insane to think about. And now it's just such a huge part of me that it replicates in my business, which is amazing. Like it's such a great quality to have. And I'm so happy that I have it. But yeah, I would say it stemmed from when I began coaching, to be honest.
That's so freaking powerful. It makes so much sense because that is essentially what training is, especially in the realm of progressive overload. You actually seek to progress, and then you get evidence for which you are progressing, and it's taking that as being like, oh, what else am I capable of? And that's exactly what you've done. But equally, I feel like it actually became part of an identity thing for you where you just were like seeking progression every day. You were just like, oh, I do it in training. Where else can I do it? I'll do it. Like it just became that thing for you. And then you also spoke about, feeling really connected to your values, being ambition. And I'm curious for people that don't actually know what their values are and they're like, I don't even know what I feel connected to. Like, what drives me? How did you realize that ambition was a value for you?
I actually remember when I started mentoring with you, I had no clue what my values were. Like I had no clue. So we did a lot of like mentorship work in Voxer in our container about searching for our values. And I still have a list actually. I looked in my notes today and I still have my list of like my top 10. And I was like, it's just changed so much because I've got so much clearer lately in regards to what my values are. I think as well, personal values and brand values, they come very hand in hand. They almost work together. I would say my personal values is a little bit different to brand values, but what I've really recognized is knowing your values is so important, especially for your business. Because if you don't know your values, you're kind of just winging it with everything. Whereas you can use your values as like a decision-making tool as well. Like, does this work in alignment with my brand values? Is this actually representing what my brand mission is? And so on.
Mm, mm. And I think that's so like beneficial in so many ways. Like one, it keeps you focused and on path and just like avoiding distraction and detour by seeing what other people are doing or just doubting yourself. Because if you can just ask yourself, well, does this support my values? Then, as you said, it's a decision-making tool that's so powerful. I
Yeah.
just love it. What other values do you really truly live by?
I would say education is a huge one. You know me, I'm always looking at educating myself, further learning, because I feel like as well, when it comes to working with one-to-one clients, you want to be educated, you want to know what you're talking about. And if
Mm,
I can offer the best service, I think education is a huge part of it. If I want to offer the best service, and I need to have the knowledge there, I need to
mm,
know how to help them with particular things that they might not know.
mm.
So I feel like education is a huge one, personal and brand based. So that's what I'm always striving for. Community and connection. I feel like connection in particular, like the relationships that I've made, honestly, my one-to-one girls, like they're my ride or fucking dies. Like I just love the connection that I've made with every single one of my girls, even some of my previous male clients as well. Like connection is huge for me in my business.
With the education value, I think that really makes a lot of sense for almost why you seem so focused in your business, because you know that if you just continue to improve and you focus on that, your business is always going to be of value to the people that come into it, so I think that really creates this beautiful conviction that you have in your business, where it's like you're just like train with Mads, like you're like, guys, like come in, like it's just such an inviting space because you're delivering on the other end of it.
Yeah, I agree. And like if I'm asking my clients to up level, then like I should be up leveling as well. I think it's a great representation as well as a coach. Like if you want to up level, then you need to be like if you want your clients to up level, then you need to be up leveling to an extent as well.
100%. And do you feel that some of your longer term clients, they've been with you and you've evolved more and more, and has that continued to help them as well?
Yeah, so my very first client ever, Richard, he signed up with me when I was a PT at Anytime Fitness. Like that was around like I don't know when I started PT. It was a few years ago, and he's been with me ever since. He's still one of my clients. He is honestly so amazing. But throughout this period of time, he has seen me as a human involved, but me as a business, like my business as a whole as well. Like he was there when I was only personal training. He was there when I started to move a little bit online. He was there when I moved fully online, and he's been there throughout all of the different releases. He's seen me evolve so much as well. Like it's just been amazing,
Oh,
honestly.
oh, he'd be so proud of you.
He's so beautiful, and I'm just like, he could have changed coaches if he wanted to. Like he could have got a male coach, or he could have changed. But if that's the thing, if you're constantly up leveling, then they're always going to see value because they know that you're constantly investing in yourself.
Yeah, huge. Would you say that that's one of your biggest pieces of advice for young business owners who are desiring to go full time online in your position with the success that you have? Is that probably one of your biggest pieces of advice? Or also, what else would you suggest?
I would definitely say continue to invest in yourself and stop viewing it as an expense. Like mentorship isn't an expense, and it's an investment into your business. That would lead me to my next point, like invest in a mentor. I would not have made the moves that I've made today if I didn't have a mentor backing me up and like pulling me up on my limiting beliefs as well. So
Mm,
yeah, my first piece of advice would be invest in yourself and stop viewing it as an expense because it's not. Also, you can claim it on tax, so that's a positive. Second, invest in a mentor because there's so much value there. And also like stop waiting for the right time because the right time will never come. It's the same with
mm.
anything, like starting in the gym, there's never going to be a right time. Same with making the move to move fully online, there's probably never going to be a right time.
100%, babe. And like, especially with our relationship with mentorship, I feel that it's something where I just fully believe in you. And I think having someone as well that fully believes in you, you know, like, no bias, it's just like genuinely see you for you. There's no like emotional, like, we don't have, you know what I mean? Like, there's no, like, I'm not your family, I'm not your partner. I'm just an individual external to your business, external to your life, who fucking believes in you. And that can be such a beautiful part of mentorship that you can't replicate. And I'm sure you have that relationship with your clients as well.
Yeah, I agree. It is so powerful, and it's nice to know that you have that support there as well. Because sometimes it's very easy to get in your head, and then these thoughts can just manifest and manifest into
Yeah.
something larger. But having someone there you can actually speak to, like that's powerful because you can actually step outside, get a different perspective. Like there's just like
Mm.
there's honestly so many different values in a mentorship container. Like I can't even stress that enough.
I just love this. And also it reminds me of of the time when you were moving online and the doubt did creep in. Like, and rightfully so, right? You don't know what the hell you to expect. You have no idea if it's going to work or not. And I remember we had conversations around this of like, you were kind of like it was stressful. You were like, well, what if it just doesn't, like, I don't know, like, am I making the right choice? Like, should I? Because you were moving out of the gym space, and a part of you
Yeah.
sort of wanted to hold on to that safety net. And a part of you had these projections coming up of like, oh, people aren't going to find me online because I had so much success in people finding me in the gym floor. And do you remember this time? I feel like it's
Yes.
so long
Oh
ago.
my God, I remember because I knew that I wanted to move fully online. Like that was always my end goal. But I remember when we were like speaking about it, I keep setting a date and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just push it back to the new year. Oh, maybe we could just push it back a little bit later. And this was just my own limiting beliefs playing out and that fear of like, oh, what if it doesn't happen? Like if it doesn't work. But like, what if it doesn't work? Well, then you can go back and work at the gym. You get what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was just so many little fears playing out. But the truth is like, there's never going to be a right time. There's never going to be a right time. And sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do it. And I remember I set myself the goal to start in the new year. And then I was speaking to, and I was like, why don't I just do it now? So I ended up quitting in December at Anytime Fitness. I didn't even quit actually. I actually proposed this idea to them that I was going to be Anytime Fitness's online coach, which they ended up accepting, which was really great. But yeah, I just decided that this is what I've always wanted to do. So why not give 100% into it? And this is what I always say to my girls as well. Like if you're going to give 50% time, 50% effort to something, you're only going to get 50% back. So it's the same with business. If you're only going to give half of your time because you're spending the other half in the gym, you're never going to be able to give all to making an online business.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. And what you also said, and just to explain to the listeners about the proposal, cheeky bugger. When I think like back to this, you're actually smart. So Maddie made a proposal to Anytime Fitness to literally say, I will be Anytime Fitness's online coach. And essentially the intention behind that was to still have access to leads, essentially,
Yeah.
from Anytime Fitness, which is freaking smart. Like it's so smart.
Such
And
a smart idea.
honestly though, because yeah, like there is a part where for whatever reason online didn't work, you still created a lot of safety for yourself. And I think sometimes that there is validity in that, in creating safety for yourself, in like, don't just be fucking reckless.
Yeah.
But like that was a funny time. So
It
yeah.
actually was. And that's the thing, I do definitely think I came up with that proposal because it was my safety net like that. It gave me safety because I had literally weekly leads from them, which was amazing. And there was that little bit of, I guess, lack of self-trust in the sense that I'm like, oh, but what happens if no one finds me on Instagram? What happens if my page isn't getting to people's pages? So that's why I kind of came up with that proposal. Again, a great idea if you want to have that safety net. But we figured out eventually it just wasn't serving me anymore. And I came to this place where I could actually just go completely online. I didn't need Anytime Fitness's support anymore. I could actually just run my business just me.
Yeah. And why do you think that was? So it eventuated into this success where you had people signing up, people signing up, people signing up. Why was that, babe? Like, in your words, why do you feel that your business from that point in that December month has gone from where it was to where it is now?
Because I was working continuously every single day. I was dedicating all of my time to my business and giving that time and giving that effort. Like you just can't replicate it by working PT as well. Like you just can't, you don't have the time. I remember when I was doing PT, I get up at like 4 a.m. every single morning, wouldn't get home until 8 p.m. I was driving 2 hours a day there and back, there and back. I had so little time to actually work on my business. Why it just held me back so much as well. And I think as well, how I got so many clients is just continuously showing up. Like that was a huge part. I remember I'd just show up on my stories like once a week back then. And then I made it a goal of mine to show up daily on my stories and spreading my brand as well to as many people as I could, posting consistently. Like there was just so many different strategies that I've implemented to help get me to where I am today.
Yeah, definitely. So talk to me about the growth that you've experienced since even like since we started working together, where obviously business has grown, but how would you sort of describe the growth that you feel you've experienced in business, but also personally as well?
Yeah. So as a person, I feel like I've grown so much. Like I can't believe like little Mads back in the day. I have learned so much about myself, and I think as well, so many individuals live their life not even questioning parts of themselves, just going on, not looking within as well. And I feel like throughout this entire experience, I've learned so much about myself and why I do things the way I do, or why I do, I guess, little different things that could be a limiting factor as well. I've learned about my own limiting beliefs. Sometimes I didn't even realize I didn't even know what limiting beliefs were before I signed up with you because I was so young.
Mm,
And I've just, I guess, I've created so much self-awareness, which was a huge thing for me. I've learned so much. I honestly, like, I would say I've literally changed completely. Like,
yeah.
there's just no other way of saying it. I've completely changed as a human being since I've signed up with you.
Yeah, I agree. I fully it's just wild. And it's underpinned by so much self-trust and so much commitment. You know, you're committed every day, and it's not from this place like you don't resent showing up every day, right? Like you actually want to.
Yeah, I actually love it. Like as I was saying, I think I said this to you a week ago or something, where I was like work doesn't even feel like work for me. Like I'm actually excited to wake up and do all my girls' check-ins. I'm excited to do the things. Like I genuinely like it doesn't feel I don't feel resentful towards my business. There was a stage in which I was so structured that I felt like I didn't have any freedom. And that was when I guess it was a few months ago when I was kind of having a bit of a resentment. Like I feel like I have no freedom. I feel like I have no flexibility, but that was because of my own limiting beliefs and the own structure that I created myself. It wasn't because of the work I was doing. It's just I didn't allow myself any freedom or flexibility. But now that I've created a different routine, I've went over those limiting beliefs and the structures that I've created. I love business. Like I literally could do this every single day. It doesn't feel like work to me.
Mm.
It doesn't feel like work to me. And this is what I say as well to my girls. Like you should be enjoying your work. If it feels like you're resentful towards it, then it's probably not the job for you. You literally need to be enjoying what you're doing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you're having those conversations with your girls too, because it's so relevant. And I feel like whilst we have a business container, we have so many different conversations because everything else in your personal life, behind the scenes, all the things, mindset, everything, it all contributes to the weight that you're feeling inside and the heaviness that you're feeling in your business. And in order to move that, it starts with self-awareness. So that's something you really do so well. And you were also saying about the structure that you put on yourself, which reminded me of literally one of my favorite quotes or sayings, which is, we are always responsible for our suffering. And I think if you can fucking see that and accept that, not blame a single other human for how you feel. If you're feeling the hardest emotion, it's always your fault. Not fault, but it's like it's always on you. And that is the most exciting thing about it because you get to change it. And it's not your job is why you feel shit. It's not your relationships, your clients, your work, your circumstance, how much money you make. That's not why you feel crap. It's because you're responding to it in that way. And that's something that you really saw with your the structure and your reliance on structure and your schedule, where you're like, oh, this is actually heavy, and you were honest with yourself about that. And then we got to unpack so much, and it was really that you were putting a lot of pressure and a lot of demand on yourself to be so regimented. And whilst that can be a strength, it was also presenting as such almost like a weakness in a sense to you. And I feel I have this conversation often with people in the online business space where they are putting so much pressure and demand on themselves to be productive. So, what have been the biggest lessons that you've learned in response to that sort of pressure and that ambition and wanting to do more, but feeling like the heaviness of that?
I think what I realize is it's okay to slow down. And if you've made a structure that has worked in the past, doesn't mean it's going to work for your future. Because I've created this structure. It was generally like it seemed like the most perfect structure at the time. I was like, yeah, this is my social media stage. This is my VIP list stage. Like I had everything into it, but I was always giving myself the most the minimum time required to do every task so I could do as much throughout the day. But what I didn't realize was because I was rushing through it, like the quality, my heart wasn't there because I was just so stressed. I was in this state of fight or flight all the time. I was honestly so stressed. I can't even explain it. I remember one of my friends, Alicia, she was literally saying to me, she's like, Maddie, you're always so stressed. You're always so stressed. And I was like, fuck, I actually am. But I
Mm,
was only stressed because of what I had made for myself. I
mm,
made this structure for myself. That was my own actions. I put this pressure on myself, and that was my own responsibility.
mhm,
I was, as you said, creating my own suffering. And that's what I always say as well. Like, you actually get to choose how you feel. You don't
mm,
have to be stressed all the time. You actually choose to be stressed. You
mhm,
can actually change that. So, like, if you feel like something, like, yes, that worked for me for a period of time, but always look back at it. Like, is this still working for me, or is this actually limiting me? And if you're in this state of fight or flight all the time, then there's something wrong. That's not how it should be. You shouldn't have to feel stressed all the time in business.
mm. So talk to me about like how are you experiencing the fight or flight response? Like self-talk, physiologically, what did that feel like?
I was just so anxious all the time. Like, the only thing that I could think about was business. I remember telling you in WhatsApp, I came in one day and I was like, yeah, so I was waking up. Oh, sorry, it was Voxer. I was waking up and I was just thinking of all these business ideas because I had no time to think throughout the day because I was just so on the go. Like, my whole life was literally business. I'd go into my training sessions and I'd be responding to my clients on my rest periods. Like, my whole life literally was business, and I felt like I constantly had things to do, and it felt like it was so overwhelming because I could never get on top of it because there was always the next thing. And that's because
Mm,
I always made the minimum time required to do a task. I didn't allow myself to step into my creative side or my innovative side because what I was doing was just ticking things off a list.
mm-hmm. Yeah, there was no space and there was urgency. And I think that was a big thing that we sort of came across was like, settle on the urgency. Like your clients can wait an hour, you can be in stillness for a hot second and not make that mean anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's been so cool. And you know what I actually fully believe is since you've made those changes, it actually feels like you're a whole different person again, like a whole different evolution.
I agree. Like, I feel so much better now. Like, honestly, I can't even begin to explain. Like, that was such a huge thing for me. And as you know, that was such a hard period for me because I feel like I was trying to blame everything around me as to why I was feeling this way. I was like, oh, my relationship isn't working. This isn't working. But really, it was actually me that was the issue. And I didn't want to take responsibility. So that first step of being like, fuck, I'm actually the issue in regards to why I feel that way, that was really heavy. But now that, like, I've kind of surpassed all of that, like, I honestly feel so much lighter. Like, for example, I went for a 4-night holiday last week, which was amazing, and I actually only just responded to WhatsApp clients twice a day. Old me could never have done that. Like, I would have been so stressed. I would have been like, nope, I still have to do this and this. And
Mm,
like, it's just insane to see how much I have actually changed just by having these conversations with you and implementing those changes into my routine. And the
mhm.
urgency, like, I did feel like everything was so urgent, but the truth is nothing is urgent enough. Like, there
Mhm.
actually is nothing that is urgent enough. If you don't post on social media today, that's okay. You have tomorrow. Like, it's not a big deal. I made it such a big deal in my mind.
Yeah, I love it so much. I think it equally showed you so much of what you were capable of too, because you did have high output and you did see progression and you did create momentum. And that's one thing. And that's great. But then it's equally to see that you're almost unconsciously communicating to your mind that we only get results when we're in a state of fight or flight. So it's harder to break that pattern when you're like, oh, but this is working for me if I'm fucking replying and thinking about business all the time, right? Like,
Tell me.
yeah. And then it's what I feel that was really helpful was unpacking the story behind it of like, okay, well, why do you feel like, what is the fear? Why do you feel like you need to be urgent and replying and thinking about business? And then you kind of just contemplated on that. And as you said, you realized, oh, wait, nothing's actually urgent enough. And it was a commitment to that new sort of belief day in and day out. And I think that really just goes to show, or that really has created the change in you so freaking much. So talk to me about, to even inspire the audience listening, other changes, shifts on a business level that you've noticed. How is business now versus how business was when you started online?
Okay, so when I first started online, I kind of like I launched online, but I wasn't marketing it. Like no one really knew online coaching existed. I did not do a really great job at marketing that at all. So I was completely in the PT industry. So I started personal training at Anytime Fitness, and this is what my business looks like at the start. It went really well. Like I got a lot of leads from the gym, so that was amazing. I created such a great client base where I had a wait list for PT, which was really cool to have. But I knew that PT wasn't what I wanted to do. I was so drained all the time because of the hours. I had no time for myself. I had no time to work on online. Like I was so drained all the time. And then I think when I was making the move from online, I had around 4 clients, I think 4 online coaching clients. And that's when I started with you. I only had like 4 to 5 online coaching clients. And now I'm completely online. I made the move to online. I have 27 girls, multiple one-to-one program subscription girls on top of that as well. Like I have literally tripled over and over again what my business has looked like. I've created so many different challenges. I've had different ebooks, different masterclasses. Like I never thought that my business was going to be here when I first started PT. But now, like, I have so much belief in myself that I know that this is literally just the beginning. Like, I am excited for what is to come. And I know how much progress I have made business wise in the last couple of years. And it just shows if you give it your all, like, you're going to get fucking amazing results from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I just also say, for like a context and timeline, that was December last fucking year.
Yeah, I
It
was at the
That
same.
is 9 months ago, babe. You've done that in not even 8 fucking months. It's
And
only
for some reason, I thought it was the year before.
oh
It
my God.
wasn't.
You 8 months and Madison Sharp has built and you've done 2 photo shoot challenges. You've just launched a new one. You've done another group program, Project Glutes, which will be a signature program. You've done 2 masterclasses. You've done full nearly waitlisted your one-to-ones. You have programs. Like honestly, that's so incredible.
I did not even like think that it was like for some reason I thought it was the year before, but I'm like I actually stopped PT last December. Like that was last December.
Yeah. Wow.
Holy shit. Honestly, I'm not even joking. I could not have done this without you because I truly believe a lot of what was holding me back was my own limiting beliefs. Like there was so many limiting beliefs at play. I was too scared to release a photo shoot challenge. I was too
Mm.
scared to move online and like yes, my business is here because of what I've done, but also like you've been such a great, like a big part of it, honestly. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, absolute pleasure. And we had such an exciting conversation today in a business check-in where we're talking about future, and it was just such a huge conversation. And it's really this speaking on scale, like we're speaking on from the lens of 10xing your business. And I think that's just going to be really powerful. Like Maddie Sharp, everyone just watch this space, 8 months, and that's just insane. Like, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so honored to have been able to work with you throughout that time, of course, and just it's just incredible. So obviously people listening to this would be thinking, how the fuck can I do that too?
I,
Like
especially like I don't even like that is actually mind blowing me because I don't know why I thought it was a previous. It's actually been 8 months. Like
yeah.
I was in PT. I was in PT last November.
Yeah, you were doing those drives. There were probably voice messages of you crying on your way to I'm fucking exhausted. I had no time to even eat my lunch today.
I would bring my Weet-Bix bowl to work because I had no time to eat. Oh my god, that's actually insane.
That's so fucking exciting. That's just off its tits, like actually, for lack of a better word. So yeah, people are thinking, okay, babe, like that's amazing, but also how can they create that? And I believe everyone can create their success. But what do you think has draws people in to TWM, Train with Mads? Is it your personality? Is it your message? Is it your community? Is it relationships and word of mouth? Is it all of the above? Or what do you feel that it really is?
I think a huge part of what draws people into TWM is definitely the connections, like that those connections and the fact that they know how much I care. Like everyone knows on my page, like I am willing to do whatever it takes to help my girls succeed. Like I will truly give them everything they need and more. And I think that is a huge part that does attract people in. But I also think the message is huge. Like no one wants to feel insecure when they look in the mirror. Like I feel like one of the biggest issues that I notice is even with some of my girlfriends, like the insecurity, the feeling like they look big in photos, the feeling like they look big, or this like being scared to go to the beach and wear the bikini, or not feeling sexy in front of your partner. Like I don't want girls to feel insecure anymore. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable in their body. And I think the way that I've spoken to that on my page draws people in because it's so relatable. It's so relatable. We've all been there when we've hated our body, or we've hated how we looked, or we've felt uncomfortable. And I think that's also what draws people in, because they don't want to feel fucking insecure anymore. They just want to feel confident in their body.
Yeah.
So I definitely think the message piece is a huge piece that draws people in as well.
Absolutely. And because you have so much context around that message, right? You have experienced it in friends. You notice the common self-talk patterns. You notice what triggers them. You notice how it makes them feel. You have context on that thing to market that thing very, very well. And a lot of people, I feel, go into the online coaching space through the lens of I'm offering health and fitness coaching and I just want clients to come to me. But what you do is you actually just go beyond that and you actually lead with the message and lead with the vision and the impact. As soon as you lead with the impact, people actually realize that there's depth to your service. It's not just like a, you know, service. Like it's
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think as well, to an extent, like you need to be specific, because if you're just saying, I'm offering online coaching, like, okay, how many other people are offering online coaching? Like that doesn't separate you from anyone else. Like you need to get specific and clear with your message. And this is what I think as well that I struggled with at the start. I had no words to describe what my mission was. I didn't even know particularly what my mission was 2 years ago, but I've got so clear on that, and that's why I can market it so well, because I know deep down inside me what it is that I want to help women with, and that's what it is, and I can market that so fucking well because it's in me, inside and out. I embody that every single day.
Yeah, it's so huge. And that's something we definitely worked on where it was like, okay, well, how can that be more specific? How can that be more? That's a bit vague. And it's like you got so specific, but then you also added in personality to that mix as well. And that's just like a secret recipe all in, really.
It is. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like I wasn't being so specific for so long because I had this fear of like, oh, but what happens if that person doesn't want that now? Like, I can't take everyone in. And I feel like with my messaging for so long, I was trying to target the 100 people at once, but that was in the same time I was losing people because I wasn't being specific. They're like questioning, oh, is that actually for me? Because that's also for someone that wants to build muscle, but I actually want fat loss. Like you need to get so clear on your message and so specific, because yes, there might be a fear that you might lose people, but the truth is you being too vague is losing people anyway, because no one knows if this is for them.
Yep. And that is, I'm so glad you brought that up because I feel is such a common fear that people need to transcend per se, of actually losing clients and not being able to cater to everyone. So how did you get over that sort of thought process where you're like, oh shit, like I somewhat have to niche down a little more with my message, which is going to mean that other people are not going to be interested per se?
It's trusting in yourself, but also recognizing that you probably don't, like, if you have a particular niche that you want to hit, then be specific to them, because otherwise you're going to be getting unaligned people that doesn't make sense to be in that release, for example. And I think as well, getting over that fear, like it's still something that pops up every now and then, right? It's still like, oh, but what happens if I'm too specific? Like, I'm missing out on that person. But it's just trusting yourself that this is actually like, this is who you're trying to target. Why are you so scared to not say that it's for everyone? Because that's actually going to dim your own light. You're dimming your light by trying to target everyone. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So I think it's just trusting that what is going to be is going to be, and that being specific is actually going to help enhance the people that come in. You're going to get more people coming in because you are actually targeting those people. If you're just being too vague, you're not targeting anyone. You're literally not targeting anyone.
Yeah, exactly. And people just dismiss you of like, well, it doesn't make them feel something, you
Yeah.
know, and they've potentially heard it before. It's just really cool. And I think the sooner you come into acceptance of the worst or of people not liking you or your perceived worst case scenario in your head, if you're
Yeah.
okay with that, you're safe, you're good.
Exactly. And I feel like as well, like a lot of the time with fears that come up, we make it to seem so scary in our head. Like we make
Hmm.
it to seem so scary. And the truth is, it's actually like if you actually experience it, it's like, oh, that's actually not that scary at all. Like, even for example, if you have a release and you're expecting this many people, but you don't get that many people, in your head, it might seem like the worst thing in the entire world. But even though you might have a little bit less people than what you wanted, you can actually give each of them more time. So it's not actually a bad thing. It just seems so scary in our head.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's perception based.
it
And
is.
it comes back to that conversation of like, we're responsible for the suffering based off the perception that we have. And it's such a beautiful reframe that you just created for yourself and for the audience as well, because I think that's so relatable of like, we project our own expectation as well onto a circumstance and then it doesn't go that way. And we're like, "Grr," or judge it, but just to protect our vulnerability. But really, there's always a gain in it. There's such a gain in it.
There is.
Mhm.
Absolutely, I agree.
Oh, I love it. So please just tell the audience, I would love to hear what is in the works for Train with Mads at the moment. Are you launching anything? Tell us all. Where are we at?
So at the moment, I still have a few positions left for one-on-one coaching. So we nearly do have a wait list. So that's still there. But I have actually released my signature 8-week summer photo shoot challenge, Amplify. That was my biggest challenge last year, which I honestly fucking loved. Like the photo shoot day, I'm not even joking, was the best day of my entire life. So I've actually just released it, Amplify 2.0, which is our 8-week summer photo shoot challenge, aimed to help women feel confident as fuck in their bikini this summer so that they don't have to cancel plans to go to the beach because they're too insecure. So they don't have to wear the oversized t-shirt to cover their belly. So I'm excited. I just released it actually a few days ago, so on the Sunday.
Oh,
But it's going so well. It's going so well. I'm so happy.
oh, I love it. So current date for reference is the Tuesday, the 5th of September. So there, hopefully by the time you're listening to this, is still places available if you do want to join. However, the chances are slim, but
Honestly, this release has gone so well. Like it's
yeah,
actually insane.
it will sell out, which is just so incredible. And what advice, like, or even like, what would you tell someone who wanted to invest in this, but they were scared to do the photo shoot component of your challenge?
The best things in life happen when we push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. And I say this all the time, like if you're experiencing fear, yes, it might feel like a scary thing, but honestly, the best things in life happen when we push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. The photo shoot, all like most of my girls last year was so scared to do that photo shoot. They did it, and I've got multiple messages after the shoot, like from every girl saying it was the best day of their life. It seems so much scarier in our head, but once you get there, it's just you just get in your groove and you meet so many new people. It's just a fun day. And the truth is, for a photo shoot, there's actually no such thing as photo shoot lean. Like, there's no such thing as photo shoot lean. That is bullshit made by social media.
Yeah. Oh my God, I want to forward that section to some of my clients. Like literally, because it's so like, yeah, it's like we also it's the Instagram highlights, it's the highlight reel of other people, but it's just an experience. It's
It
celebrating
is.
all that you are in every facet of you.
Exactly. And like there's no particular body that you have to look like. And like I literally did a shoot a few months ago for my business at my highest body weight. And I was so scared because this was like again my highest body weight that I've ever been. And I was fucking fine. So this is your reminder that you're gonna be fine as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that message and that message about chasing discomfort and leading into it and it being the best thing that you will likely ever do is such a powerful message for all areas of our life, being our health, our mindset, our business, relationships, everything. So thank you, Mads. I want to finish off this podcast by just doing some random fun questions.
Okay, let's go.
I haven't prepped you on them. They're not very saucy, but let's get into it. So first thing, favorite food, go. Off the top of your head, it has to be the first
Pasta.
thing.
Pasta. Old me would have said wheat bix, but pasta.
Yeah, you like fully ghosted the Weet-Bix train, but that's okay.
I have. It was like my personality at one stage, the wheat bix. Now I can't have it. I just can't.
That's so random. No, you just, yeah, you were obsessed. You had like 8 a day, to be fair, so no wonder you got over it.
Literally 8 a day for like a year. Like
I know. And you would get so full as well and force every last mouthful. So again, PTSD has formed from the wheat bigs and now we will never eat them again.
I taste it, I'm like, gross, how did I do that?
They do taste a little bit funky, but that's so funny. So pasta it is. And favorite place to travel / place that you would love to go that you haven't been?
Oh, favorite place to travel? I really want to go to like Santorini or the Maldives. Like that's somewhere I want to travel. But like my favorite place to go is obviously Queensland Surfers. You know me, I love a surfers paradise trip. I love a surfers paradise trip. But I really want to go to the Maldives and like just go around Europe as well, like
Mm.
Italy, Santorini, Greece, like all of those places.
I can totally see you doing that, just relaxing by the ocean with your
I
business just
want
still
to.
working on the side. I love
I
it. Our favorite activewear brand.
Crop Shop Boutique, we know it. I love, it's the only thing I wear now. Like I used to have Gymshark, Rider Wear, but Crop Shop Boutique, like just the way it looks, is just amazing.
Yeah, the Crop Shop as a brand overall have just done so incredibly well.
So good, so good.
Yeah, I love it. Advice you'd give to your younger self.
Trust that everything's going to be okay. Because I think for quite a lot of my youth, I was always so stressed about the next thing. Like, oh, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do with work? What am I going to do with this? Like, just trust that everything will be okay. And what is meant to be will be. I say that all the time. Like, what is meant to be will always be. Like, everything happens for a reason.
And equally to contradict, what is your biggest fear
Like when I was younger or now.
now in life?
Ooh, my biggest I've actually never thought about this. I guess fear of not doing enough. I feel like that plays out quite a lot, and it's still something I'm trying to like get over, like that fear of not doing enough. But yeah,
Mm.
I would probably say that's my biggest fear. But I know that I do enough. Like I truly believe that. It's just like that lingering thing that comes up sometimes.
Yeah, and it does. And I think sometimes with ambition, it makes sense that it's driven by a fear, and I think some of the most ambitious, driven, and successful people were driven by a fear of what if they didn't, and I don't think it always has to be a bad thing, because, yeah, there's a part where you would hate to be your elder self and just regret something, right?
Exactly. And like I don't want to ever settle for less. So I'm always aiming for higher. So yeah, like as you said, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like it can be, and it's definitely has been in the past, which we've worked through as well. But yeah, I would definitely say, yeah, it doesn't have to be a bad thing because it actually has allowed me to achieve so much success too.
Yeah, absolutely would agree. And then finally, a dream of any sort, something that you just want to tick off one day. I'm going to say in your business career, a bucket list thing, just anything that comes to mind. What do you want to say? Yeah, I did that.
I want to, I haven't really said this to anyone, but I want to become a huge, huge fitness coach in Australia. Like that has always been my goal. Like I think of the Australian strength coach and he's fucking massive. And I feel like he knew I was going to say this, but I want to be like that. I want to be one of the biggest coaches. I want to create an empire for women. Like that is my biggest business goal. And I want to do that on the beach with my house on the beach.
Yes, the house on the beach. Babe. I mean, look, if we're looking at 8 months to where you've gone to now, I mean, like,
It's gonna happen. I believe in myself. I truly believe in myself so much.
I love it. And I think that's such a key ingredient, right? It's like unwavering conviction in yourself. Even if you don't know what it's going to look like to get there, I think you would really embody that mindset where you're like, I don't really know exactly what the next, like what the
No,
next
I
years will
agree.
bring. You're like, I'm doing it.
Exactly. That's like literally me because I don't know what Train with Mads is gonna look like in 5 years, but that's scary, but it's also so fucking exciting. Like it's so fucking exciting.
So exciting, babe. So, for those that have listened to this podcast and are obviously, or I assume, very inspired by you and everything you've done and want to continue to follow along your journey, where can they find you across all platforms?
So on Instagram and TikTok, it's at TrainWMads, so TrainWMads. And yeah, that's probably the main place you would find me.
And website?
www.trainwithmads.com.au.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Mads. And thank you everyone for tuning into this episode. If you did enjoy it, if you got value, please either share it with someone who you feel would really benefit, or feel free to leave a review or share to your Insta stories and tag myself and Mads. But thank you so much, Mads. This has been so
So
incredible.
much. Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Thanks, babe.